Garry Kelly. Your music, your station. Your music, your station. Galway FM.
Delighted to be joined by one of Ireland's great heroes, Jerry Flannery. Jerry, you're very welcome to Galway.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah.
Now, let's be honest, you're no stranger to Galway either, because you started off your early career in the provincial team of Connacht.
Yeah, I've had a good few years up here. I played with Galwegians for a couple of years and played with Connacht as well. You know, I really enjoyed my time in Galway. You know, I have a lot of family up here.
Have you found that the game of rugby has become a lot more popular over the years since, I suppose, you would have gotten into it in the early days of school?
Yeah, I suppose a lot of it is down to success. You know, I suppose when my dad used to bring me to international matches all the time when I was, you know, a young fella, Ireland used to get hockeyed all the time, and there wasn't, you know, the provincial rugby wasn't as big at the time like Munster. That thing hadn't taken off, provincial rugby. So I suppose as the standard has improved and there's more success, more and more people are getting more interested.
As people know, you are playing with Munster, and probably one of the greatest rugby matches seen here in Ireland was the big semi-final between Munster and Leinster. Unfortunate situation that happened though with the eye gouging, and Alan Quinlan got a 12-week ban. Sometimes you think that it's poor form for players who are supposed to have an authoritative figure in the public to carry out tactics like that on the field.
Yeah, there's no place in the game for eye gouging. But if you're implying that Alan Quinlan eye gouged, then you're very wrong. I know Alan Quinlan well. It's not in his character. I spoke to Leo Cullen after the game. Leo Cullen said that Alan Quinlan didn't eye gouge him. He put in a statement saying that he didn't eye gouge him. And if you look at the video, Leo Cullen doesn't reach for his eyes either afterwards, which would be the first thing that happens when you get a finger in the eye. So I suppose the siding commissioner, he came up with his own idea on it, and I'm bitterly disappointed for Alan, because I know that's not the kind of player he is, and I think, you know, the Lions squad is going to be a lot weaker without him going over this year.
Do you think there was media hype coming up to that semi-final with regards to it was going to be such a big battle, and you know you were going to be absolute enemies during the game, but afterwards, you know, you'd be best buds again?
Well, I suppose because it's you know, any Munster Leinster game is always going to have a lot of media a little media hype around it. The fact that it was a Heineken Cup semi-final and the history from 2006 when we previously played each other is obviously going to fuel that even more. I think you know, the media they'll talk about the game, and you know, but first and foremost we want to be professional, we want to win, you know, and you may be friends with a fella off the field, but when you get on the field, you know, you want to do everything you can to win, and off the field then, you know, you'll shake his hand after the game.
George Hook was in Galway last week, and he was making the argument with regards to was there a need for a fourth provincial club, and Connacht is who he was talking about within the country. Where do you think on that? Is there a need for the four clubs that we have at the moment, rugby-wise?
I'm not aware of what George Hook was saying, but or what he was trying to say, but I believe that Ireland without a doubt need four professional teams. I played in Connacht for a couple of years, and it had a huge effect on my career. You know, I learned so much up there, and I think if you look at the young players that go up there, you look at Fionn Carr, you look at Frank Murphy, Ian Keatley, Sean Cronin, all these fellas are developing so much. I think Connacht are always going to, you know, get the short end of the stick if they're not getting the budget from the IRFU. They're being used as a development province. In that sense, you know, their apparent lack of success can't be used against them if they're not fully funded, you know, but they are developing the players, and that's what a development province is for. When the players are coming through, Irish rugby is prospering, you know.
You were part of you know, you were involved in the making of a sporting historic event. Many people said that they never actually thought they'd see the day. The Grand Slam, Six Nations, Triple Crown. And I suppose you on the field that the cameras picked up expressed the tears of joy that many people at home and around the country would have felt as well.
The Grand Slam was one of the highlights of my career without doubt. To go 61 years without winning something, it puts something on a pedestal, really, you know, and it can sometimes put like a burden on you. And I know for the last few years when we've been playing with Ireland, we've always targeted it. Going into this year's Six Nations, to be completely honest, after the previous, you know, 18 months of form that the Irish national team had, we probably wasn't first and foremost in our minds, you know. So we just took it game by game, and I suppose it was a building process for a lot of, you know, a new coach, you know, new players coming together and bringing a new game plan. So to have that kind of success at the end of a campaign was a huge thing for us, and we're all delighted.
With rugby, and especially with an international squad, it's all about team building and everyone working together. But of course, in sports like this and the intensity and pressure of it, a lot of egos come into play as well. How do you work as an individual and try and stay away from that, but at the same time get involved in the whole teamwork that is needed on a field?
I've been lucky in that the teams I've played with in Munster and with Ireland, there's a lot of big players there, and they've got big opinions, but I think everyone puts them aside for the betterment of the team, which I think is crucial. Something we've always, like, if you look at Munster, for example, you bring in someone like Dougie Howlett, who's a superstar in international rugby, but Dougie came in and he works as hard as anyone else in the squad. He listens to everyone when someone is making a point, and he'll contribute. So I think that, top players tend to park their egos if they want to be successful, and you just get on with it and do what's best for the team.
Another great future as well for Irish rugby players, the British and Irish Lions Tour, and a huge selection. I believe it was 14 Irish players selected for the squad. It must be another exciting challenge for yourself to be taken on heading over to South Africa.
Yeah, it was a huge honour for me to get selected for the British and Irish Lions. It's always been something, I suppose, when you're a young fella and you start playing rugby, it's probably the pinnacle of what you can do as an individual, is representative honours wise, is to play for the British and Irish Lions. So getting selected was fantastic, but now I think getting selected has probably been, I suppose, if you want to say, it's the easy part, because now we've got a job to do. It's not just about just getting a cap and saying you became a Lion. It's more about getting out there and doing the jersey justice. I think everyone still looks back on 97 Lions and watches the DVDs, and that's the stuff of legends were made of there. So you want to go out there and do the jersey proud and be successful.
It takes a huge amount of passion. I heard you saying that you got an injection in your shoulder recently, and to look at you physically, I mean, you're very fit. Lean mass muscle is probably the athletic way to describe it. How do you maintain your fitness and keep optimistic with regards to, I'm sure after every game you can be very worn out and tired, and there's always the hassle of injuries as well?
I've been very lucky in that, with Munster, we have our strength and conditioning coaches and our physios and medical staff are top class, and they don't stand still every single year. They're looking to advance and push the standards up with Munster, and I suppose that helps the player. The fitter you are, the better conditioned you are going into each season, the better you recover. And injuries happen, it's part and parcel of the game, but when you've got diligent physios and medical staff, it makes the recovery process a lot quicker, and players themselves are, there's a lot more out there for them now to be a lot more professional about coming back with their own rehab and preventing injuries.
You got involved now in PREDA, who are holding an auction here in Galway Friday the 22nd of May, and it's for a very important charity. How did you get involved in it?
I was actually in Galway last August. I came up, there was a Damien Dempsey concert on inside in the Roisin Dove, and myself and a group of friends went to it, and I was actually inside at the concert when Philip Cribben came up and introduced himself to me and gave me his card, and gave me a ring then a couple of days later and asked me would I be interested in getting involved with the charity, and I said I'd have a look at what they were about, and he sent me on the information, and when I read about the stuff they'd done and about Father Shay Cullen, I was very happy to try and get involved.
Do you have that problem when you're kind of out in the public eye that people kind of grab you for opportunities every so often?
Well, I think if you're playing sport and you're going to be on the TV, then this kind of stuff happens, and if being recognisable it can be in any way helpful, it can be helpful if you're helping out with charities, So I think it's worthwhile. I put in a bit of time, and if it raises awareness and helps makes things a bit easier raising money, then it's well worthwhile doing.
Jerry Flannery, thank you very much for your time, and the best of luck on the Lions Tour.
Thanks very much, Gary.